Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Of course, this is Life with Nessa and I, and today I'm going to be telling you guys some of the mistakes that I made when I was doing my container garden. So let's get into it. Now, of course, the guys are out again in the sun. As I tell you, this is where I put them out in the daytime to get some sun because your plants will need sun, and where they are currently doesn't have a lot of sun, and so I had to ensure that they get what they need. Now, the first thing is we're going to be looking at the spinach. Now, yesterday while I was going through, as you notice, these spinaches are generally supposed to be bigger than this. These look a little wonky, you know, like they're not really growing well. And when I was looking through yesterday, I saw that this one looks like it's about to flower. I don't know if you can see right there in the middle. It looks like it's about to flower, which means that it's about to bolt. So this one won't this one really needs to be pulled up shortly, because once it starts to bolt, then the leaves start to get bitter. They don't taste as well as they should. I didn't see any others bolting or with that looking like they're going to bolt yesterday, but as I was saying, this is not how they're generally supposed to be looking. So what I figured is that, first of all, this container isn't deep enough. I mentioned that they're generally supposed to have 6 inches for root purposes, but this isn't that. Another mistake I made with these is that they're kind of tightly packed, and though I've seen other people do theirs tightly packed, I think them being tightly packed and also not having the root space that they need contributed to them just not growing well. Another thing is that when I was doing this container, now normally for containers you have to have your drainage holes. These does have drainage holes, however, when you're doing your drainage holes, you're encouraged to put stones around them, little rocks, little pebbles around them, as well as dry grass if you can, or hay or whatever, depending on where you live, just because, one, it prevents the water from running out really quickly, and two, it reduces nutrient leaching out of the container. I noticed with this, whenever I'd water it, like a lot of the water would run out really quickly, so I know that I didn't cover the drainage hose as well as I could. And there's no hay in this. I did put hay in some of the others, dried grass from my lawn, but there isn't any in this one, and so I believe that some of that contributed to this. So I did harvest some of these earlier on, but they were much bigger than these. These just kind of got smaller over time. And the next thing is that fertilization. I don't think I fertilized enough. I was trying to go natural, as I told you guys before. I don't think I fertilized enough, as well as watering. So because of the fact that the drainage holes were so big and then the water was running out a lot, spinach requires a lot of water, and I don't think I watered enough. So we have, as you can see, some of the leaves were browning. I picked some off and just dropped them back in there because they were turning brown. So yeah, that was my mistake for my lettuce. As you can see, these are beautiful, but they are very, very close to each other. Now, I planted the lettuce seeds in the container as is, and so a lot of these came up this way, and I did not thin them in time. Now you might be saying, why not thin it out now? Because I would lose a lot of these plants. They're too old based on their size, as you can see. Not like these are perfect to be repotted, perfect to be thinned. Personally, I don't like thinning. Can involve just throwing the plant away, but I don't like to do that. So I'd rather have them grow as big as they can be and then harvest as much of the leaves as I can. But these are they're too close to each other. They need more space than what they have here. As you can see, the spacing between these two plants is pretty small, and so it's affecting the growth of these as well. Over here we have, now these were the ones that you guys would have seen before in the last video, but I did go ahead and harvest some of the leaves, as you can see. So because these are leafy varieties of lettuce, I can go ahead and just pick the outer leaves. Like this one can be picked now based on the length and the size. So I went ahead and just picked the outer leaves to harvest, and I made a beautiful salad. It was delicious with it. Now if you notice, this plant, it's very long. It has a very long stem, which is not usual for lettuces. Why? If you look at the others, the stems aren't as long. The reason for this is because of where it is. If you notice, it is surrounded by 3 other plants which were really big, and so it forced this plant to kind of have to grow longer in order to get sunlight. It was a competition. So again, these just weren't spaced properly, And the reason for that is, what I would do next time is that instead of directly planting into the pots that I intend them to grow in, I would plant them in seed trays. And let me show you my seed tray. So this is a seed tray that I currently have, and as you can see, there's some labeling that went on, which is just, this here says, I don't know if you can read it, it says basil or basil. Now this is really just a skewer and regular writing paper, and we just use my hot glue gun to glue those to my daughter would write the label, the name of the plant that's we planted, and then we just glue them on together. Nothing fancy, but it does work. And so we have everything here labeled just so I know what is where. We planted some stuff out. So this is the seed tray, and if I could, this is what I would have done over for the lettuces. It allows you to be able to control how many plants actually come in one cell. These are called cells, and they also can grow to a good height before you transplant them. And transplant them is from this is pretty easy. It's easier than transplanting it from the pot out there, because transplanting it from the pot out there, I would have to generally dig out the plant with my finger or something and try to not disrupt as much of the root, because once the root system is disrupted, the plant is going to die. As you can see here, these were planted last week or in the week, and so we already have some kale. As you can see here, we already have some kale coming up, right? And I basically planted 2 or 3 in each cell, and so this will be easier to transplant. So this is what I would do when I'm doing my lettuces again, is that I would use seed trays. And you have different sizes. You have this one which I bought at Agrocraze. They're pretty inexpensive, so you don't have to worry. And as you see, I had some tomatoes growing in there which I really need to transplant, and so I'm going to transplant this and show you guys how easy it is. And so I would do that for the lettuce next time, so as I can better space them when I'm transplanting them in the bigger pots. Here's another size seed tray that I have now. I got this from RADA, as I told you. That's a Rural Agricultural Development Agency. They had a backyard kit program where they were giving people stuff to start a backyard garden, and so they gave me this seed tray. The cells are smaller and it also holds more, so this will hold about 128 plants. This only holds 50, right? And the seed trays go up in size, so this is smaller, that's bigger, and then you have another size that the plants can grow a healthy root system in before transplanted. I haven't used this on it just because I have that one, but yeah, I would go ahead and use seed trays next time. And this is pretty big. You wouldn't have to use all of this if you didn't want to. As you can see, there is one empty space here in mine, one empty row, because I haven't planted anything in there yet. I could have, but I chose not to. So you don't have to use all of this. If you only have space for 10 plants, you can just go ahead, or however many you have, you can just go ahead and use the amount of cells that you need. And then of course they would need their sun and their water, whatever. And these, as you can see, have drainage holes in the bottom. For this one, I don't remember putting stones in there, just because I use straight potting soil for a lot of them, and the potting soil is a little bit heavier than regular soil, and so I did not do that. But they will require a lot of watering and a lot of sunlight so the seeds germinate well. Now, as promised, I'm going to go ahead and transplant those tomato seedlings that are in the seed tray into that pot over there that you see with my potting soil, and just show you guys how easy it is to transfer from the seed tray to other pots, as opposed to planting seeds directly into the pot. Now, first thing I'm going to do is to water it, because when it's wet, it's easier to just squeeze out. I already went ahead and got some stones in my pot just to block the drainage holes. I've gone ahead to put some stones in just so I can block the drainage holes, so we can reduce the soil coming out and also the watering. I don't have any hay in this, and I'm not going to put any in there, just because I don't have any readily available. But ideally, I would have gone ahead to put some dried grass just down at the bottom, as I said, to reduce the nutrient leaching and the watering coming out as quickly. This is my potting soil, and I got this also from RADA. And I'm just going to put some in at the bottom. I'm not filling it up all the way, because that is going to come out with some soil, and then I'm going to add some water to this. As you can see, this is how it looks on this water. The water just kind of stays on top of it because it's pretty thick. It's pretty dense, so the water tends to do that. And then I'm just going to take the cell, I'm going to squeeze it, and as you can see, hold the plant by the root and just pull it up. Now this would have come out a bit cleaner, but I do have a lot of root system here, so the plant should be good. Ideally, I would have wanted to come all the way out with all of the soil from the seed tray, but for whatever reason, everything didn't come out. I can just dig this out, but I didn't really lose a lot of roots, if you can see from what I did, so the plant should be fine. Then I'm going to go ahead again and add some more soil to this. Now tomatoes, if you notice these spiky things on the stem, these are actually baby roots. So the further up you fill this with soil is the stronger the root system, and so I'm going to fill it as far up as I can with this to encourage roots to grow from these hair-like structures on the stem of the plant. So this is what it looks like. I would have covered quite a bit of it, as you can see. So wherever the plant part is that I've covered on the stem, it's just going to encourage new roots to grow and make this plant stronger, because it should have been transplanted a while ago, to be honest. Once the roots have nowhere else to go, it's just going to stunt the growth of the plant. I'm going to show you my other tomato plants that all these seeds are planted around the same time, but because those were transplanted earlier, they have more growth going on for them. So I'm just going to water this now, put it in the sun, and yeah, that's it. Alright, so we've watered, and you have to make sure this gets a good soaking because it's just been transplanted and you want to reduce the chances of root shock. And now we're going to put it in the sun. And I will be adding some more water to that. Now, this is the tomato plant. They were planted around the same time, but this was transplanted first. As you can see, it's a much bigger plant. And then there's another one here. This one was transplanted recently, a little late too. But as you can see, it still does look much better than that one, even though they were all planted around the same time. Germination happened around the same time, but because of that, transplanting late caused the plants to look as they are. So that's another mistake that I made in the garden, where I didn't transplant them out into bigger pots quickly enough, and so the root systems became stagnant and the plant didn't grow. I didn't experience any much more plant growth because it has outgrown the pot that it was in and needed a bigger vessel. So guys, this is it. I'm still proud. As I said, I did harvest some lettuce. I'm still proud of what I have going on. Could be better, but this is a learning process, and I'm happy that you guys are here to learn with me. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what it is that you would want to see me plant next. I did plant some plants there. Somebody had said scallion in the comments, and I did plant that, and I'll show you what else I've planted. But let me know what else you'd like to know, what other plants you'd like to see. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. This is Life with Nessa and I. Bye.